Hi English 110 students, this is your week 6 video. I want to go over what you need to do this week, and I particularly want to go over the paraphrase and quotation exploratory essay. Okay, so you need to watch the video that will be hyperlinked here that you're currently watching. Listen to episode 6, Punishment. Read the handout quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing, as well as signal and lead-in phrases. And those will help you with source integration, which is the goal of the upcoming assignment. Okay. You'll also read the assignment sheet for the paraphrase and quotation exploratory essay, which will be due Friday, September 18th. Okay. And you'll also have a discussion post due Friday the 11th that will also be hyperlinked here. I've already created it, but I need to hyperlink it for you. Now, in fact, let me put this in student view so I can make sure you're seeing exactly what you'll see. Okay, so Module 2. So you'll want to make sure you read through all of these things and then click on the paraphrase and quotation exploratory essay. So, for this assignment, you will demonstrate the skills you've learned about incorporating source material through paraphrase and quotation. Paraphrase is to take someone else's words and put them in your own. It's different from summary because with summary, you're taking a large amount of information and condensing it into a small space. With paraphrase, it's going to be roughly the same length. It's sort of similar to quotation in that you're taking a particular section of a text, but it's in your own words. Sometimes we paraphrase in order to not overcrowd our papers with direct quotations, and sometimes we paraphrase to put something in our own words that might be easier for our readers to understand than the way it was said in the original text. Okay? So in your summary and response exploratory essay, you use the skill of summary to identify the main points, the main details of episode 1 through 3 of season 2 of In the Dark. Now you will use the skills of paraphrase and quotation to explore the ethics of true crime entertainment. Think back to what you've listened to of In the Dark season 2 so far. Consider your reaction to this podcast alongside the perspectives offered in the articles we've read about the ethics of entertainment derived from true crime media, including the Vulture article, The Ethical Dilemma of Highbrow True Crime, and the blog post, Can True Crime Be Entertaining and Ethical? Now, last week, yes, it is last week's discussion post. I left it open through this coming Tuesday because I don't like to make you turn assignments in until you have the last one back, and I still had a few summary and response exploratory essays to hand back. Those all are returned now. But I went ahead and left that discussion board open. So you have already done a discussion post that had you thinking about these essays, or excuse me, these articles and this issue of the ethics of true crime. But now I want to move that into a more formal essay. It's still an exploratory paper like the summary and response exploratory paper. Please excuse my cats in the background. It's still exploratory in that you don't have to commit to a particular perspective. You can say, I'm still working through these ideas, but I think X, Y, and Z. But it is a formal paper. And so before I go through the components of this paper, a couple of things I want to address that I saw a lot in the summary and response essay include writing. You want to make sure things are in paragraphs, right? That paragraphs are organized by one main idea and that you do have multiple paragraphs, okay? When you're referring to journalists or authors, you use their first name and their last name the first time you talk about them, and then their last name only. So we're not talking about Madeline, Michelle, and Alice, right? We want to use their last names, okay? It's just a convention of academic writing. Another thing I noticed a lot of that I didn't think to put in the assignment instructions is referring to the assignment as an assignment. So I think maybe your inclination to do this comes from standardized tests, right, where you have to say, like, in this essay, I will, or we were required to read X, Y, and Z. So, but a convention of academic writing at the college level, is that you kind of pretend that you're writing an essay just because you had something to say on this topic. So rather than tell us what you're going to do or what you were asked to do, just go ahead and do it, okay? And that's, I haven't been taking off for that, but that is a convention of academic writing. That is a sort of generally agreed upon rule. That's what convention means. Okay, components of the paper. For this essay, consider the following questions. At this point in the semester, where do you stand on this issue? Are some forms of true crime entertainment more ethical than others? Where does In the Dark Season 2 so far fall on this spectrum? And if you've been reading my comments on your discussion posts for weeks now, I've been saying, well, where do you think In the Dark falls in this debate? Because I wanted you to start thinking in that direction. Since this is an exploratory essay, you do not need to commit to a specific thesis, argument, but you do need to have a clear focus. As you answer these questions and any related ones you think of, you need to include the following. You are welcome to have more to support your assertions. You need at least 2 quotations from at least 2 different episodes of In the Dark, Season 2, i.e., in other words, at least 1 quote each from at least 2 different episodes, accompanied by correct and complete in-text citations, which in-text citations just refer to a reference in the text that you will then follow through on your works cited page with a full citation. I've included a link in the module. It's not assigned until next week, but if you want to go ahead and read ahead, it explains how to do in-text citations in MLA style. And for electronic sources, which is what we're working with, that's generally going to be just a signal phrase. According to Madeline Barron, or a parentheses with the author's name because you're not going to have page numbers to work with, okay? And then that would tell the reader to then look on your works cited page for Barron to see what the full citation is. So let me give you another example. So True Crime's Ethical Dilemma by Alice Bolin, right? Okay, so an in-text citation for that might be something like, according to Alice Bolin, and then you might have a quote, people love true stories about murder and other brands of brutality and grift, period, end quotation. You wouldn't have a page number, we don't have page numbers here, but you would have a reference to the name that would then alert your reader to check your works cited page, okay? And like I said, there is a link on the in the module for more on in-text citations if you're not familiar with that. So you need 2 quotations from 2 different episodes of In the Dark of your choice. At least 2 quotations from at least 2 different articles about the ethics of true crime. So at least 1 quote each from at least 2 different articles. So at least 1 quote from this one and 1 quote from this one. Okay? At least 1 paraphrase from at least one of the articles. So where you've taken a section and put it in your own words, accompanied by correct and complete in-text citation. So again, for electronic sources, that's just going to be the author's name, either in parentheses at the end of that paraphrase or quotation, or a signal phrase, which you have a reading about lead-in and signal phrases this week. So that'll make more sense, where you just say, as so-and-so explains, right, and that's your in-text citation. You will also need to use a bit of summary to provide adequate context for these quotations and paraphrases. So don't be afraid to, in this case, borrow a little bit of material, maybe from your summaries, in order to lead into what you're going to say. So the general gist, well, let me finish the formal requirements and then I'll back up. Times New Roman 12-point font, 1-inch margins on all sides, cite all podcasts and articles in MLA style. You'll follow the same link for the MLA guidelines, and this time you'll use how to cite an article. I'll put that link, I'll add that link to this module as well. It's in the previous one, but I'll put it here as well so that you have that. This paper is worth 100 points and is 15% of your final grade, and I will use this rubric to grade it. Clear focus. Please, please, please use the rubrics as you're writing to make sure that you have all the components, right? So the essay has a clear focus regarding the questions surrounding the ethics of true crime. When we say ethics, we mean sort of the rightness and the integrity of true crime, whether you think it's a good thing to be doing. A student does not have to take a stand one way or the other on whether or not true crime can be ethical. However, the essay does need to demonstrate that the student understands the various positions presented in articles we have read and give some indication where the student's own thinking is leading. So you don't have to say, yes, I do think true crime is ethical. No, I do not think true crime is ethical. But you might start working through some of these issues. Well, I think it does some good work in these ways, but I also think it's kind of icky that it does X, Y, and Z, that sort of thing, okay? And again, your discussion post from week 5, it's discussion post 4, because we didn't have one the week that you had the summary and response to. Your discussion post 4 has some relevant material, so you can use your own thinking there that you've already done to get you started here. Quotation and paraphrase, it's the same breakdown as what I just read to you in the assignment sheet, and then you have a correct and complete works cited page. Please don't forget to do a works cited page. Many people lost many points on the previous assignment simply for not having a works cited page. So please make sure that you're doing that. Please also know, and a couple people in the class have done this, that you are more than welcome to set up a meeting with me, and I will do a full draft review with you, okay? It's saying error here because I'm not a real student, but that should show up for you if you turn it in. But yeah, anytime up until the paper's due, shoot me an email, Dr. B. Can we meet on Zoom? And I'll have you send me the paper, and we'll go through it line by line, and I will tell you what I think and what I think you can do better and what you're already doing great, okay? So that's what you need to do. Again, this assignment's not due until Friday the 18th, but you are supposed to read it for this week, okay? Make sure, I've tried to duplicate, you can both get to the materials for the week here and on the module page, like home page here. I'm trying to make sure that you work through everything, so please make sure that you're doing that. I have a feeling based on some of the discussion posts and papers I've gotten that a lot of us are skipping the handouts that teach you things, right? These videos, like the one I'm doing right now, and these handouts are what you would be doing in class if we were in a face-to-face class, right? These are the issues we would be discussing. This is what I would be teaching. So if you're skipping that stuff, it's like skipping class and then trying to do well on the evaluations. And the evaluations in this class are papers, okay, and discussion posts. So make sure you're going to class. That's basically what this is. Watching these videos and reading this content is going to class. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that. Okay, please do let me know if you have questions, and I will see you online. Have a great week.